Good morning, viewers. Namaskar. Ram Ram. Today I am going to speak on a topic which is assigned to me on horticulture technology for increasing farmers' income in arid zone. Viewers, as you all aware that country is facing serious problem, that is pandemic situation of COVID-19, and we all countrymen and different sectors of the agriculture one or the other way affected by the COVID problem. As you all know that there is no as such treatment of the corona. However, our Honorable Prime Minister of India has made a call to all citizens of India that since there is no direct treatment of the coronavirus, only we have to take the precautions, and therefore countrywide lockdown has been imposed. Now in this lockdown period, we have to much more think about the social distancing, personal hygiene, use of face mask. But one more strategy is required to save ourselves from the corona is the balanced diet. And therefore on 6th of this month, in a national webcon, I personally suggested and given a talk on the horticulture therapy, where we have to think much more about to develop our immune system. There is no as such data, but it is well known that the people whose immune system is better, they are less affected with the corona problem. And for improving your immune system, the horticulture cannot be ignored. And whenever we talk about the balanced diet, horticulture is the central point, where large number of fruits, vegetables, spices, medicinal, aromatic plants are there, whose if you use in your diversified diet, you can improve your immune system. Before going ahead with the topic assigned to me, I would like to once again to thank to all viewers who are on live, who are joined with me, and those who will listen further also. But mention I would like to make the most about the Progressive Horticulture Group, and in particular Dr. Sanjay Dwivedi and his team, who has thought that during such period we can use the human resources and we can disseminate the technology available in our country for the well-being of the farming community in general and improving their livelihood and income in particular. Therefore, the all organizers deserve a lot of appreciation. And today they have given chance to me to interact with our respected viewers. And I am seeing many people had already joined live to me, and they are facing this listening our talk. Regarding agriculture as a whole in our country, I must mention that India has made a commendable progress in field of agriculture. And as of date, India is called a country from shortage to surplus. Once upon a time, after independence, we were facing a lot of problem of the food, but now India is a self-sufficient country, and not only self-sufficient, but also we are exporting many of the commodities to several other countries. And also I must make the mention that India is the first country who has enacted the food bill in our country, that is access and availability of the sufficient food to our citizen of the India. And you are aware that India brought green revolution, blue revolution, white revolution, and finally also golden revolution in field of the horticulture. So several revolution has came in our country, and because of that Indian citizens are feeling that food is a not problem in our country. And before few days our honorable Vice President of India also expressed the concern that India is a self-sufficient country where there is no problem of the food shortage. Therefore, we must think that how these kind of revolutions, a lot of stakeholders are involved. There was some safety problem, sorry. So I was mentioning that the tremendous growth of agriculture is not because of one person, but country as a whole, different sectors, different policy makers, agriculture scientists, our great farmers, everybody has contributed to bring this green revolution. And I must make mention that at present, in the leadership of our Honorable Agriculture Minister, Sri Narendra Singh Tomar ji, and ably supported by two state ministers, Mananiya Sri Kailash Chaudhary Sahab and Sri Purushottam Rupala Sahab, who are ably supporting and guiding in our agriculture in our country. And the overall monitoring of the Indian Council of Agriculture Research is being done by the Director General of the ICAR, Honorable Dr. T. Mahapatra Sahab, who always addressing us, who always talking us, who always guiding us that how the problem of the country can be addressed through agriculture system as a whole. So, in nutshell, I can say that Indian agriculture has made tremendous progress. But at the same time, we have to think more that demand is dynamic and future challenges which we have to face, rather our future generation has to face, is more complex than what is now. If we think about Indian agriculture, that our growth of Indian agriculture is revolving between 3 to 4% since last several years. The contribution of Indian agriculture in the national GDP has also declined sharply from the 61% to 13% as of date. The cropping intensity of the Indian agriculture is also not increasing, and it is also revolving about 146%. The climatic vagaries is another problem which we have to face. The land-man ratio is very much declining, and we can understand that in 1951, after independence in 1947, when the first census came in 1951 about the crop cutting survey as well as about the area production of the different communities, the per capita land availability was 0.91 hectare, and which has been drastically reduced now to about just 0.23 hectare. So this we can very well understand that the land is shrinking, per capita availability is reducing, water is another crisis. But one more point on this occasion I would like to mention that in 1960, the 1 hectare land was supporting to only 3.3% in our country, which became reduced in 2000. This has come down, and 1 hectare land is supporting to 7.3%. And in 2000, this has come further down, and the 1 hectare land is supporting now 9.6%. Now we can very well understand that the pressure on the per hectare land, and particularly the arable land, is so much increasing. Therefore, we have to devise our strategy so that we can face the future challenges. But if we look back about the Indian horticulture, which is a sub-sector of the Indian agriculture, this is growing at faster rate. Among the agriculture sector, there are many sub-sectors where growth is better. And in 2014 itself, India, the food grain production, which we now consider about the 285 million tons. The horticulture production has reached to 314 million tons, and it has surpassed the horticulture production has surpassed the food grain production in our country. This clearly speaks that the horticulture is growing at faster rate. The productivity of the horticulture produced has increased, which is about 13 tons per hectare now. Export has gone up, which is 46,000 crore per annum. Growth rate of horticulture is also about 6%. And if you see the contribution in the GDP, and particularly in the agricultural GDP, the horticulture alone is contributing about 30% of the total GDP of the country, which is being contributed by the agriculture, which is about 13%. The availability of the fruits and vegetables, that is per capita availability of the fruits, it is more than 200 grams, and 378 grams of the vegetable now it is available to our citizens of India. Our global share of the horticulture is more than 13.5%. This itself speaks that horticulture sector has made a commendable progress, and not only the production but productivity and availability of the different horticultural commodity has increased at a faster rate. But the darker side again we have to visualize, we have to think accordingly, we have to chart our strategy. Even apart from the tremendous growth in the horticulture sector, the share of the global trade of India in the field of horticulture, it is hardly 1.5%. If you look back about the processing issue, processing is hardly 3 to 4%. There are many countries where 80 to 85% processing is being done. So post-harvest handling is another area. Even after much more production of the horticultural produce, 19% population of our country, particularly the rural women, they are anemic. About 44% of the children in our country below the 5 years age are underweight. Diabetes is another problem in our country, and it is growing day by day. This way we can think of that one way we have made a tremendous progress, but on the other side there are certain problems too which we have to think of. If we talk about the growth of the subsectors, as I told you, the growth of horticulture, growth of fish, growth of poultry production, growth of milk production. If we compare with the food grain production from 1951 to till date, the food grain there is a jump of 5.5 times. In the food grain production, about 5.5 times jump has occurred. But in case of milk production, 9.7 times jump has occurred after 1951. In case of horticulture, about 11 times production has increased. In case of fish production, about 15 times it has increased. In case of poultry, 48 times production has increased. This itself speaks that the production of the subsector is growing at faster rate than the food grain. Now for this growth, as I told you, as in case of agriculture, there was a different stakeholders involvement. Similarly in horticulture, this growth is because of there is a very good infrastructure, particularly research infrastructure has been created in our country, and particularly after sixth plan, the India has started giving much more emphasis on the horticulture also. And as on date, if we look back about the infrastructure facility available, particularly in the field of research, about 23 national institutes are available in our country, and those institutes, in 23 institutes, 13 are the Central Institute, 4 Directorate, and 7 NRCs, National Research Centers, exclusively working in the field of horticulture. There are 27 regional stations of these institutes. There are 13 All India Coordinated Projects working in the field of horticulture. There are 7 horticulture universities in our country which are exclusively working in the field of horticulture. There are 17 agriculture faculty located in different state agriculture universities which are devoted for the cause of horticulture. There are mostly horticulture department in almost all SAUs in our country. Besides that, science and technology, CSIR, DBT, DRDO, they are also contributing the basic research in the field of horticulture. Not only research infrastructure, but developmental activities are also going on in our country, which is being coordinated by the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Government of India. And there is a separate post for the Horticulture Commissioner who is coordinating the horticulture development in our country. There is a National Horticulture Board, there is a Coconut Development Board, there is a Directorate of Cashew Research, there is a Directorate of Areca Nut and Spices Board, and in all state government there is a separate Directorate of Horticulture. They are also contributing about the research and development of horticulture in our country. So overall horticulture is a very growing sector. Now coming the aspect which I have to mostly concentrate on, the arid horticulture. Arid horticulture is one area which we have to think much more. As I told you, there is a shrinkage of the land-man ratio. Getting good land is very difficult. Therefore, we have to think for those land which has not been fully exploited for the cause of horticulture. So, I will talk some points about the arid horticulture, and sometimes this I would like to also mention that sometimes we feel that the rain-fed horticulture, the dry land horticulture, the arid horticulture, they all are same. We have to understand there is a little, though they are all interrelated, but there are little difference are there. Rain-fed and irrigated are the resource farming situation, and in our country about 60% farming is only dependent on the rain-fed area. But when we talk about the rain-fed, it does not mean only the water, there is always deficit, but sometimes there is a water surplus also. So the farming which is totally based on the rain, that is called the rain-fed farming. Similarly, when we talk about the dry land horticulture, it is a bigger term, where different kind of agroecological situation, if you put together, they come in the dry land horticulture, like hyper-arid, arid, semi-arid, dry subhumid. So all those, if you put together, then it is a large chunk of the edapoclimatic situation comes in our country, which is categorized as a dry land situation. But arid is a very typical phenomenon. In arid, where water is a limiting factor, in arid situation, and as per geographical categorization, about 12% area of the country is categorized as the arid land. And this arid ecological situation is again in the two parts. One is the hot arid situation, other is the cold arid situation. And if you put together, there is a 39.54 million hectare land in our country which comes under the category of the arid horticulture. But if you distinguish the cold arid horticulture and hot arid horticulture, about 31.7 million hectare is under the hot arid horticulture and 7.83 million hectare is the cold arid horticulture, which is mainly confined to the Jammu, Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh and part of the Uttarakhand. And here, as far as rainfall is concerned, when we talk about the arid horticulture, rainfall situation is always less than 500 millimeter. When we talk about the hyper-arid condition, again the rainfall situation is further poor and about 150 to 200 millimeter rainfall is only available. So in arid condition, the growing period is hardly 90 days. Moisture is a limiting factor and aridity index is very high. Drought is a natural phenomena of the life of the inhabitant of the arid region, and also temperatures are very extreme. Sometimes temperature goes up to 50 degrees Celsius in the summer and sometimes also sub-0 degrees Celsius. Rainfall is hardly 200-300 millimeter. Under such circumstances, how our farmers are surviving, you can very well imagine. But it does not mean that nothing is going on in our country in the arid horticulture. I must thank those who have thought about this kind of land resource, this kind of ecological situation can be utilized by the horticulture. And the beginning has been started by the setting up of the All India Coordinated Research Project on the arid zone fruits. And after seeing the progress of the All India Coordinated Research Project on the arid zone fruits, a separate institute has been established in the Bikaner city of the Rajasthan, that is Central Institute for Arid Horticulture, in 1993, and it had completed about 26 years of its establishment. And after visualizing that arid horticulture can contribute tremendously in our country, this institute was established. And I must mention that when the institute was established, the area under fruits in the arid region was hardly about 7 lakhs hectare. Now it has gone to 14 lakhs hectare. And the production, which was 14 lakhs ton, now it has gone to 80 lakhs tons in our country. It means about 5 times of the area has increased and about 6 times of the production in arid horticulture has increased. When we look back the share of the arid horticulture in our country, it is very negligible. It is about 1% only. But if we see the growth rate of the horticulture, it is resembling with the national growth rate of our country, which is about 6%. And in arid region, which is mostly found in the Rajasthan state of the country, which is the largest state also, about 10% spices and 15% of the medicinal aromatic plants are being produced in the Rajasthan alone, which is 10% of the total production in the country and 15% of the medicinal aromatic plant production of the country. Similarly, Rajasthan is also largest producer of the henna. 98% of the henna, Lawsonia alba, that is called Mehdi, is contributed by the Rajasthan. 95% isofgol is contributed by the Rajasthan. 80% guar is contributed by the Rajasthan, and 65% coriander is alone contributed by the Rajasthan in our country. The productivity of some fruits, particularly I must mention, there are some arid horticultural crops where productivity is either better or equal to the national productivity, like quinoa, potato, onion, sweet potato, beer, amla. The productivity is either better or equal to the national productivity. And when we talk about the productivity, we have to also think for the quality production. And when we talk about the quality production in the arid region is always better than if you compare with the tropical or subtropical region of the country. And region is very obvious. Here the day and night temperature is very wide, and because of that region, the sugar synthesis is always better. Not only the sugar synthesis, but many of the secondary metabolites are also better if the fruit produced in the arid region. But darker side of the arid region is, as I told you, the water availability is very less. Rainfall is less than 400 millimeter. The biodiversity is always under threat. Temperature is very high, sometimes sub-zero, and because of that region, frost is another limiting factor. So those are the certain limiting factor in our country, particularly in arid region, which are affecting our productivity adversely. But at the same time, as I told you, if you have to go for the quality produce, you have to think for the arid region. A vast land resource is available. Plenty of solar energy is available in the arid region. Biodiversity of the arid region is very useful. And also there is a good scope of the organic farming. And if you see in the arid region, the animal population is also high compared to other region, which also helpful in the bringing area under the organic farming. The biotic pressure, particularly the problem of insect pest, is also very less. And the fruits which are produced are of two categories. Most of the arid fruits, they are processable fruits. You take the example of amla, bel, jamun, kaith, kear, lasoda. They all are the processable fruit, not they are table fruit. But their nutraceutical value is very high. So we have to think that how these fruits can be utilized. When we talk about the improving production, productivity, and the enhancing the income, we have to think that Prime Minister has already made a call that we have to think for the more crop per drop, which is one of the area in the arid region where productivity is very, very poor. Water is a limiting factor. Therefore, we have to think for the judicious utilization of the water first. Input use efficiency, that is also poor in the arid region. That input use efficiency also we have to increase. Quality seeds and planting material. Availability of the quality seeds and planting material is also very less, that we have to also think of. Post-harvest losses. As we know, unlike other areas, the post-harvest losses are also high in arid fruits. Therefore, we have to think for that. Value addition, linking with the national market, risk mitigation, and promoting ancillary activity is the another area we have to think if we have to think for the improving income of the farmers. Government has made certain initiatives that how the income of the farmers can be increased, and several programs have been launched like Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, ENAM, Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Chai Yojana, Soil Health Card, Development of Food Parks. So many more schemes have already been launched, and if you take the help of these schemes, definitely the income of the farmers can be increased. But increasing of the farmers' income by arid horticulture is very, very difficult. Therefore, very appropriate strategy, very appropriate technology, site-specific technology we have to think of. Therefore, some of the small capsules I would like to mention, particularly for the benefit of the farming community, that how income of the farmer can be enhanced. When we are talking about the arid horticulture, the first and foremost crop, rather I can say indicator crop, is the date palm. Cultivation of date palm can increase the income of the farmers. But we have to very judiciously, we have to think that it is not a easy crop. One way, this is a irrigated crop. The growing of the date palm everywhere in the country is not recommended. It required very high amount of irrigation water, and it is said that date palm head is in fire and root is in the water. Therefore, its water requirement is very high, and only where water availability is plenty, there it can be grown. That is one point which I must mention. The second point I would like to mention that in our country, the variety available in date palm is all introduced. Not a single variety of the date palm has been developed by India so far. Therefore, all introduced variety, particularly Arabian country, their ripening period is different. Most of the variety, they ripe in the month of June, and June monsoon breaks in India. Therefore, the variety which has been introduced so far, they are not good for the pinned khajur. Means their ripening period is coincide with the onset of the monsoon. Therefore, they cannot reach to the quality which is desired. The second important point is that in date palm propagation is another problem. Date palm is propagated by two means. One is by sucker, and second one is by the tissue culture plant. Tissue culture plant availability in our country is very minimum. But when we talk about the sucker production is the minimum. One plant of the date palm in its life period can only produce 20 to 25 suckers. And establishment of sucker is another problem. Hardly 50 to 60% sucker can establish in the field. So multiplication by sucker is a very limiting factor. Therefore, we have to go for the tissue culture plant, and tissue culture plant still we are importing from the foreign country. This is the another problem. The second problem is that whatever date palm started spreading in our country, Farmers without thinking they have started planting, though in case of date palm, male plant and female plant are different. The farmers have planted mostly female plant without giving due consideration of the male plant. Therefore, pollination is a problem. And that too, in case of date palm, hand pollination is being done. So the technique of the hand pollination, neither they are knowing nor they have planted the date palm male plant. So both problems are there. Because of that reason, it is not successful. But the variety like Varahi, Halavi, Khalas, Medjool, Khuneji, Khadravi, Jahidi, they are very suitable for our country, which though ripens in the June, but before June they can be harvested for the fresh date. So there is a good scope of the fresh date. So I am recommending to our all respected farmers of the country that under irrigated condition, date palm cultivation can be done by these variety for the fresh dates. And if you sell the fresh dates, you can get good income. Its market is increasing. Now the second crop, when we talk about the arid region, it is the bear, Jujyphus mauritiana. Bear is also a good fruit, but now sometimes farmers are reporting that there is no income from the bear. Now I want to suggest a good technology for the bear cultivation. Normally what happens, bear is grown by its traditional system, adopting 8 into 8 meter spacing, and a grown up plant is giving good yield, and about 100 quintal per hectare yield they are getting. But the fruit size is of different, fruit quality is different, their maturity is not synchronizing, and the fruits which are inner size, they are ripen later than the fruits which are on the outer periphery. So different maturity they are getting. So because of that reason, a mixed kind of fruit they are selling in the market and they are not getting good income. At Central Institute for Arid Horticulture, Bikaner, we have developed a new system of the bear cultivation, where on espalier system of the training, where a 6 feet of the angle iron is inserted in the soil and 3 sets of the wire, first tire, second tire, third tire. First tire we are running at 2 meter, then 4 meter and then 6 meter. So 3 tires of the wires we are running, and on that at spacing of the 6 into 3 meter, means between 2 espalier 6 meter and between plant to plant 3 meter spacing is required. And because of that, farmers can get good income. And why it is very useful, that harvesting is not problem here. It is making a like wall like structure 6 feet height, so you can harvest it easily. And also I would like to mention here that I am not trying to increase the production, I am trying to optimize the production of the quality produce. So for getting quality produce, we have to take the optimum yield, so that at the one time there should be ripening and good quality fruits can be obtained. And here I had demonstrated that 110 quintal of the fruits you can easily get from a hectare of land in the second year itself if you are growing bear on the espalier system. And by that, about 1.5 to 2 lakhs rupees you can get by selling the fruits of the bear also. So the system of growing and quality produce makes a lot of difference. So bear can be grown in this way. So it is easy in the harvesting and better quality fruit. Now third crop of this region is the Kinno cultivation. When 20 years before I introduced the Kinno in the Bikaner region, nobody was happy and nobody accepted that Kinno can be grown in the Bikaner region. But now you can see very well in the Bikaner that Kinno is coming in very well. And here 3 points I would like to mention that Kinno, which started from the Ganganagar Abohar area, now farmers are switching over to the Bikaner region, and the ripening period about 20 days before we are harvesting Kinno than the Ganganagar. This is one point which we got. Second point, the quality of Kinno, the TSS, which is 1 degree more than the Ganganagar and Abohar area. And the third point, there is a decline after 12 to 15 years when orchard were established in the Ganganagar Abohar area, but in the Bikaner, the orchard of 22 years old is standing without any problem. So here early harvesting we are getting, good quality we are getting, lesser seed we are getting and good income we are getting, and also decline is coming at the latter stage. Therefore, growing of the quinoa is one of the profitable venture for the farmers, and 1.5 lakh rupees per hectare they can get by the quinoa cultivation if planted under the drip system. The third very important crop of this region is the pomegranate. Now a lot of farmers, particularly in the Balmer area, they have started growing of the pomegranate. Here I would like to mention that two variety. One is the Bhagwa and another is the Jalao seedless. They are performing very well in the arid region. But at the same time there is a problem also. Growing of the pomegranate in the high density orcharding of 4 into 2.5 meter, accommodating 1000 plant per hectare, getting good income. But there are certain problems also. The problem is that in the hot arid region, cracking is the one problem. The second problem is the nematode, and third problem is the Bahar regulation. The Bahar which is being obtained in the Maharashtra is not applicable in the Bikaner region, means hot arid region. So our own Bahar, that is late Hast Bahar, we are promoting, and about 15 tons per hectare yield we are getting, and about 2 lakhs rupees per hectare we can get. But here size is a little limiting factor, as I told. Size we are not getting that big as we are getting in the Maharashtra and the Gujarat. But otherwise quality is almost good. Cracking is a problem, sun scale is a problem, nematode is a problem, Bahar regulation is a problem. These are some small problems are there. But the oily spot disease, bacterial wilt, which is very common in the Maharashtra, this region having least problem in hot arid region of these problem. Bale is another crop, Agal marmelas, which is coming up very well. Our regional station, Bejalpur, which is located in the Gujarat state, they have developed a very good variety of the bale that is called Goma Yasi. That Goma Yasi, it is the I can mention that this is the first variety in our country which having a very rudimentary spines. Means we can say thornless variety, semi-spreading variety, and under rain-fed condition at the spacing of 7.7 meter, it can be grown very well, and 10 tons per hectare yield you can get, and about 1 lakhs rupees under rain-fed condition you can get by the growing of the bale crop. As you know, bale is a very useful fruit for the stomach ailment. So growing of the Goma Yasi variety under rain-fed condition, particularly semi-arid condition, is a very profitable venture. The another fruit is Aola. Everybody is knowing about the Aola, that is called Amrit Phal, a very good medicinal plant, good source of vitamin C also. But here Aola techniques also we have developed a double hedgerow system of the Aola planting. And by this double hedgerow system, where the plant to plant is only 5 meter spacing, and between two LAs we are giving to about 10 meter spacing. Therefore, by this system about 20 tons per hectare yield we are getting, and more than 2.5 lakhs income we are getting under rain-fed condition by growing the popular variety NA7. So this variety is very popular in the semi-arid condition. Jamun, another crops we all know, this is a fruit for the diabetic patient, and Goma Priyanka is a very good variety we have developed, and this can also be grown. This Goma Priyanka having very thin seed, and this can also be grown at 7 into 7 meter spacing, and the fruits of Goma Priyanka is sold in the market about 100 rupees per kg. But only thing is these fruits are very perishable, so after harvesting we have to very quickly put in the market. Another one new crop I would like to also, there are many more crops in the arid region which we are working, but a crop which is called Lasoda, Cardia mixa, which most of the people of the subtropical and tropical region may not be knowing much, that this crop can be used as a commercial crop for the arid and semi-arid region, and this is very good for the making vegetable and pickles. I can show its a picture that this is the Lasoda fruit which can be very well grown, and this is first variety which we have developed at CIH Bikaner, this Lasoda Thar bold variety. and this is very good. This is the unripe fruit of the thar board. At this stage, its vegetable and pickle can be prepared. So this is a very good variety for the making pickle as well as the vegetable. But at ripening stage, it can be eaten also. And by cultivation of this thar bold lasoda, a farmer can get a lakhs rupees very easily. And this can be also planted as a boundary plantation. So this kind of crops can increase the income of the farmer without taking much care. The another area of the arid horticulture is the fruit-based cropping system. In the arid region, monocropping is always risky. There is a problem of the drought. There is a problem of less rainfall. There is a problem of sometimes biotic pressures. So monocropping is sometimes risky. Climatic uncertainty, everybody is realizing. When we talk about the climate change in our country, there are two regions. One is the coastal region, another is the hill and mountain ecosystem, and third one is the arid region, which is most prone to the climate change. And when we are talking about the climate change, we have to think for the arid region that how farmers' productivity can be made sustainable by the fruit-based cropping system. And at Bikaner, we have standardized one fruit-based cropping system, that is bear-based cropping system, where instead of growing bear at 8 into 8 meter spacing, we have recommended farmers to go for the growing of the bear 16 into 4 meter. Between two rows, there should be 16 meter distance, and between plant to plant 4 meter distance. So virtually about 150 plants you are accommodating per hectare without sacrificing the plant population. And in between two rows of the bear, you have to grow for the cluster bean during the Kharif season and mustard during the Rabi season. And all along 400 meter boundary of the four side, one side you have to grow lasoda, another side you have to grow bale, another side you have to grow khejri, and fourth side you have to go for falsa. So at a time, in a same piece of land management unit, you can get 7 type of products. So you can diversify the project, you can minimize the risk, and you can get the good income. So this kind of system we have developed for the arid farmers, where good income can be obtained. But we are not working on the fruits only. A lot of fruits are there where we are working. But apart from the bear, bale, amla, kinno, pomegranate, lasoda, falsa, tamarind, many crops are there, mulberry. But some arid vegetables we are also working. And when we talk about the vegetable, we have to understand that like date palm, khejri is the another indicator plant of the arid region. And without mentioning khejri, which is called as a lifeline of the Thar desert, we cannot complete the Thar. And this is the crop by which wealth of a farmer can be judged. If a farmer having more khejri plant, he is considered as a rich farmer. If a farmer having no khejri plant, he is considered as a poor farmer. Khejri, which is giving a multiple outputs, we have to think for. But very systematically we have started. When this institute was established, we have asked the farmers that what is the problem in the khejri cultivation. They told that khejri cannot be regenerated artificially. Khejri tree is a very tall height. Khejri having thorns, so that harvesting is a problem. So we started working, and we have developed the first variety in the world, that is Thar Sobha variety, which is a thornless variety. We have started multiplication of the plant by the budding. So a orchard, now we are able to establish a orchard of the khejri, and this orchard starts bearing just after 3 to 4 years of the planting. This is a small bushy plant, thornless plant, comes early in bearing, and good pod yield you can get. So, and the very good point of this, that khejri can be grown without a single drop of water. Khejri can be grown as an organic farming component. So we are able to demonstrate that khejri can be grown organically, khejri can be grown under rain-fed condition, and a good income can be also obtained with the khejri. And I can show you the parts of the khejri which is being eaten by the community. This is the green part of the khejri, you can very well see, and this can be eaten as a green part, as a vegetable, and also after dehydration also you can use the khejri parts. So we can use the khejri in the green phase also, we can use khejri in the dehydrated phase also, and this is a very good the variety which we have developed. So this kind of khejri plantation we have developed, so we can think of. The another area is that potato cultivation. In arid region, nobody was thinking about the potato cultivation, but we have started potato cultivation in the arid region. And why people were not thinking the potato cultivation? That in the hot arid zone, particularly the northwestern part of the country, they are frost prone area. And in the December, January, there is a problem of the frost, so potato cultivation was not in common in this region. We have introduced the variety from the CPRI Simla, and the variety like Kufari Chipsona, Kufari Fraisona, Kufari Jyoti and Kufari Vasa, they are very well performing here under the arid condition. And the production has, which was reported about the 250 to 300 quintal, we are harvesting here 400 quintal per hectare in case of potato. Also, the problem of the frost we have managed. We are not growing potato by irrigating ridge and furrow system. Rather, we have grown potato in the sprinkler system like wheat cultivation, and we are able to manage the frost problem of the potato also. Kachri is the another crop. Some of the farmers of the southern part of the country may not be knowing about the kachri. This is a cucurbit which is very, you can very well imagine, and I can show you a fruit of the cucurbit here. This is a kachri crop, and this crop is very important industrial crop. This can be eaten as a vegetable. This is a sweet type of kachri, and for the first time our institute has developed a variety kachri AHK 119. So this is a variety which is a uniform type, and after dehydration its powder can be made, and the daily masala which we are eating now these days, that is the powder, about 25% powder of the kachri is mixed in all kind of masala as a base material. So this is a very industrial crop, very tasty crop. At ripening stage you can eat as a chutney, you can make it a pickle, you can eat as a vegetable, you can dehydrate it, and you can mix in your masala also. So this is one of the important crop which is very common in this region. The another crop is the snap melon. This crop, I can show you the fruits of the snap melon. This is also kakadi, but please mind it, this is not the very common fruit kakadi. Its fruit weight is about 250 to 500 gram, and this is very good for also vegetable making. And now these days, this is the one of the fruit which is very common for making the ketchup. So ketchup can be made from this fruit. So this is called snap melon, and by cultivating snap melon also in the arid region and semi-arid region, farmers can get good income by cultivating these crops. Many other crops like bottle gourd, the first high temperature tolerant variety Thar Samriddhi we have developed, and that can be cultivated and a farmer can get good income. Same way, Matira is the another crop, that is watermelon. So high temperature tolerant Matira, that is Thar Manak, also we have developed. Now these days we have started onion cultivation. Onion, once upon a time it was never thought that onion can be cultivated in the Rajasthan. But now onion is a major crop of the Rajasthan, and the productivity is better than the central part of the country. And we have started demonstrating onion cultivation in our country, which is coming up very well. And I am very much confident that the years to come, that onion will be one of the commercial crop of the arid and semi-arid region, which we are growing particularly in the Kharif season. We have standardized one technology that is called tunnel technology. This low-cost tunnel technology is also very important for the farmers, particularly for the arid region. As I told you, during the winter season, particularly when low temperature comes in the December, January, crop growth ceased, germination ceased. Therefore, what we thought that growing of the cucurbit crop, particularly long melon and sponge gourd, which we have developed a good variety of the long melon Thar Seetal and sponge gourd Thar Karni. What we are doing that we are making a low tunnel by the polythene seeds about 1 meter height, 1 meter width, and there we are growing on the triple lines. We are putting the seeds of the cucurbit crop during extreme winter, that is December, January month. And as I told, it is covered with the polythene seed, low height polythene seed. So inside the temperature increased. Because of the increasing temperature, germination start and plant start surviving, and by drip system we are giving the water. So during the winter month, that is December and January, plant remain inside the tunnel. But when after January, in the first week of February, when temperature start rising, we open the tunnel, and immediately after opening the tunnel, this plant starts giving the flowers. So a smaller height plant, which is enough mature about 1.5 months, they start flowering, and we in the month of February, March, and even up to April, we are getting the fruits of the long melon and sponge gourd, and getting early fruits. We are putting early in the market and getting good income. So I am advising to the farming community that low tunnel cultivation, which is very cheap method of the cultivation of the vegetable crops, you can grow different cucurbits during winter season and you can get the good income. And about I had taken a survey that in Rajasthan alone about 16,000 hectare area has been covered under the low tunnel cultivation of the different kind of vegetables. There are certain unusual crops, but mostly we are working on the cucurbits, solanaceous crops, several variety of the brinjals, sponge gourd, ridge gourd, bottle gourd, and some solanaceous crops like brinjal and chili. Some varieties also we have developed and they are performing very well on the farmers field. But some unusual crops and underutilized crops also we have started working, like aloe vera. Sometimes people are very fond of growing aloe vera, but unless you ensure the market, these crops are not beneficial. So aloe vera crops, first we should ensure the market, then we will start growing. The second point which I would like to mention here, that aloe vera having about 300 species, and there is a different kind of variation. But many times farmers are not knowing which crop I have to take. Therefore, I thought that today is the opportunity to show our farmers particularly and others also that they should understand there are broader three groups of the aloe vera. The first group is the aloe vera which is used for the cosmetic purpose. The second group is aloe vera which is used for the medicinal purpose. The third group is aloe vera which is used for the culinary purpose, means for eating purpose. So there are three major groups, and I can show you the leaf pad of all three groups that you can understand that what are the crops are there. Now I will show you. This is a leaf of aloe vera. People, you are knowing this is called also Ghrit Kumari or aloe vera or Guarpata. This is a Guarpata which is mostly used for the cosmetic purpose. And why it is used for the cosmetic purpose? Because its pad is very thick, its gel content is very high. So where gel content is very high, aloin content is less, thick pad, that is good for the cosmetic purpose. Because of the reason that in the cosmetic products, gel are mostly ingredient. The second one is the medicinal purpose. In the medicinal purpose, I am showing one of the aloe vera. This is a aloe vera leaf pad where the aloin content, which is a major active ingredient for the medicinal value, here that active ingredient is in higher quantity. So those aloe vera where aloin content is very high, they are used for the medicinal purpose. But a third type of aloe vera we have here identified. This is another kind of aloe vera, and this is used for the culinary purpose. Here Aloin content is lesser, gel content is medium. But because of the lesser aloin content, it is not bitter, and you see in the Rajasthan it is called sweet type of aloe vera. So we have to very well understand that the which kind of cultivation you want. You want either for the aloe vera for the cosmetic purpose, or aloe vera plant for the medicinal purpose, or aloe vera plant for the cosmetic purpose. Now again, one point I would like to mention that sometimes what you do, there is a confusion in the both type of aloe vera. So which is on the my right hand, this aloe vera is the sweet type, which is on the left hand, which the left side, this aloe vera is of the bitter type. So bitter type is for the cosmetic purpose, sweet type is culinary purpose. But how a common man can identify, this is a point. So the aloe vera which we have identified and registered, this is sweet type aloe vera. When it comes in flowering stage, the sweet type of aloe vera having purple color flower. Kindly note down, this is the kind of aloe vera for the first time this institute has identified from the Bikaner, and also we are registering this aloe vera. This aloe vera having purple color flower. Rest of the all aloe vera having scarlet orange color flower. So the only purple color flower aloe vera, which is called sweet guarpata, this is only recommended for the culinary preparation, and it can be used as a vegetable, it can be used as a pickle purpose, halwa, barfi, toffee, different products can be prepared by this sweet type of aloe vera. So plants are easily available in our institute, anybody can purchase. So cultivation of the aloe vera is also one of the profitable venture, but it also cannot be done in the rain-fed under the hot arid region, but in the semi-arid region it can be cultivated in the rain-fed condition also, but in the hot arid region it requires little irrigation. So aloe vera is another unusual crop. The one more crop I want to say that you may be knowing this is called Nagfani, cactus pear, and this cactus pear is also one of the crop, but the cactus pear which I am showing to you, this is not the thorny type of cactus pear, it is also a cactus pear, it is for the culinary purpose, it can be used as a salad, it can be used as a vegetable, and I can demonstrate you here itself that it can be eaten itself here. This can be eaten, little sour taste is there. So this is one of the aloe vera which we have identified here, that the sweet type of this cactus pear can be eaten for the vegetable and also as a salad. And it's a fruit is also very tasty. It's a fruit, you can see very well here the fruits of the cactus pear. By this a very good quality of the squash can be prepared, and with a high antioxidant value. So the cactus pear is also one of the crop of the hot arid region which can be cultivated by the farmer, provided they should know that what kind of crops is required, what kind of variety is required, and what kind of agro technique is required. I am not mentioning much about the various agro technique, otherwise it will take time, like how its cultivation is done, what kind of planting material is required, how irrigation is done, how nutrient management is done, how plant protection is done, how post-harvest handling done. So many areas are there. But in short, I can say that there are many crops in the arid region. If properly you adopt those crops, go for the site-specific technique, rather advanced technique of the cultivation, good income can be generated. Now the one area of the generating income is the post-harvest technology. In our country, about 16% there is a post-harvest losses. And if you see the world scenario, 6.4 million crore, there is a wastage worldwide in the food after the post-harvest. So these losses we have to save. And if you calculate in the Indian scenario, 92,640 crore rupees are being wasted in form of the post-harvest losses. Here I would like to advise you that this post-harvest losses is not only the losses of the product also, but the post-harvest losses the kind of input which was involved in the production of this huge amount which is wasted, that is the loss. Time is loss, product is loss, input is lost. So all those losses, and even environmental situation also we are degrading. So those losses we have to minimize. That is one of the area. The second area is that we have to develop the value added product. When I am talking about the value added product, we have to again understand that in the arid region, the value addition have better score, because here the climatic condition of the arid region is the very desiccating. Solar energy is the plenty. So you can go for the dehydration of the different vegetables, different food products, so that you can develop into a value added product. And we have developed two products at our lab. One is the Amla based mouth freshener. And why we have developed that, nowadays people, particularly the young generation, they have started chewing or eating the gutka. So to minimize the gutka, we have started developing a good mouth freshener, which is the Amla based mouth freshener. You can see here our institute has developed the Amla based mouth freshener where there is a good demand. So farmer and small entrepreneurs can also develop in form of the cottage industry Amla mouth freshener, which is a replacement of the different type of gutka and also good source of energy, minerals and the also vitamins. So this Amla based mouth freshener is one of the area. The second product which we have developed, as I was telling, that the kachari based powder. One curry powder we have developed, you can see here. One kachari based curry powder we have developed here. That this is a very good powder where 14 ingredients we have mixed, but basic product is the kachari. So kachari, if you use for the development of the curry powder, this is good. And this product we have only developed because of the reason that not only the nutrition but some medicinal ingredients also we have incorporated here, and now we are going to patent this product, kachari based curry powder. So if this kind of value added product we have to think of. The third product which we have developed, that I was telling about, the squash. This is a squash developed by this fruit which I have already shown you, that the snap melon. This is the snap melon and this is the ketchup made by this product. So cultivating snap melon for preparation of the ketchup is one of the area which a farmer can get good income. But here only limitation is this ketchup. If you see the ketchup made by the tomato and ketchup made by the snap melon, here the color of this ketchup is not as attracting as the ketchup made by the tomato. Therefore, we are thinking go for the natural blending of the some other product so that its color can be improved. That is one area. The second area is now these days Manchurian liking is increasing. So for the mixing in the Manchurian, either you go for the ketchup made by the tomato adding or adding the ketchup made by the snap melon. Is no difference there. But if you compare the cost wise, the ketchup made by the snap melon is cheaper than the ketchup made by the tomato because of the cheaper raw material, and quality wise both are comparable. So this kind of ketchup we are recommending to the farmers that go for the snap melon cultivation, and thereafter you can prepare the ketchup. The other product which we have developed in our lab, as I was telling, that the sangri, that which I was showing you, green sangri, the dehydrated sangri I want to show you. This is the dehydrated sangri and this is the green sangri. So this green sangri during the season you can harvest, and dehydrated sangri after dehydration you can sell in the market. And its rate in the market is varying from the 500 rupees to 1500 rupees per kg. You can very well imagine that after dehydration how much cost is increasing, and you can use over the year if you have gone for the dehydration. The another product which is very common in our country from the arid fruits is the panchkuta. So we have also standardized the panchkuta making, where 5 ingredients are there. The first ingredient is the kachari. Second one is the care, called Capparis decidua. Third is the kumut. and fourth one is the Kamal Kakadi, and fifth one is the Kachri. So 5 ingredient, if you dehydrate, mix together, a very good vegetable can be prepared. So this kind of panchkuta we are recommending to the farming community, that go for the brand value of the panchkuta and go for the organic cultivation of these ingredients, and you can get a good income. So this kind of product we have developed. But in the arid horticulture as a whole, I would like to suggest to our farmers particularly that arid horticulture is an upcoming venture. Getting area under the good land in the tropical and subtropical region for the horticulture expansion is not possible. Therefore, we have to go for the judicious utilization of the arid and semi-arid region by growing these kind of fruits like date palm, pomegranate, bear, bale, amla, tamarind, custard apple, lasoda, mulberry, karonda, falsa. These kind of crops are very useful. Similarly, the crops like khejri, kachari, snap melon, bottle gourd, tomato, long melon, sponge gourd, moringa. There are many vegetables which are finding place in the arid region that can also be grown. And if we have to increase your income, not only cultivation part but also linking with the market is very, very essential. And other secondary enterprises we have to also promote. Now your youth, young children, young boys, they are coming forward, and many secondary enterprises can be integrated with the arid horticulture like beekeeping, poultry, fish rearing, mushroom cultivation. So all those, if you put together, definitely your income can be enhanced. So today I am once again thankful to the organizers that they have arranged this kind of conferencing, and through the web I am trying to address and trying to bring forth the importance of horticulture, particularly arid horticulture in our country, so that we can make the horticulture economical. Thank you. Jai Hind. If there are any question, any query, I am ready to reply. Yes. Hello. Somebody was asking about the panchkuta, all 5 ingredients. Again, you can listen the ingredients: sangri, केर, कुमट, kachari, kamal kakadi. These are the 5 ingredients: kachari, केर, kumat, sangri and kamal kakadi. So these are the 5 ingredients of the panchkuta, and this is a mixed vegetable can be prepared. Any other query? Somebody is asking my mobile number. They can note down 9483509653. Many of the viewers, their photograph I can very well identify. I am grateful to them that they have listened to me. Anything more organizers can tell? I am still ready to respond if some queries are there. Thank you. Please take care, particularly with the social distancing, hand hygiene, using face mask. Be safe, be careful. Thank you.